Yeah. So I guess it's pretty obvious by looking at me that I'm a fairly non-threatening person. I scare easily, but I think, if you saw anybody that looked like me on the street try to jump out and scare you like this, not exactly selling it for you. Just kind of accepted that this was going to be my lot in life until the year 2005. I was in college, and I was in a co-ed honors fraternity, and we were looking for fundraising opportunities. And one day in October, our fundraising chair was like, hey, I heard that the amusement park Six Flags America will give you cash if you volunteer to scare people at Fright Fest, which is like their annual Halloween celebration. And I was like, yes, sign me up. I'm a diminutive person. I never get to scare anyone. This is gonna be my chance, all right? So about 2 weeks later, a bunch of us pile in 4 or 5 cars, and we drive down to the administrative offices for Six Flags. No more than about 3 minutes of us entering the administrative office doors, the guy who runs the whole thing is staring at us and is like, all right, which one of you is the shortest person in your group? Which normally would have been me if it wasn't for the fact that my friend Becky, who's 5'1", was standing next to me. So we all immediately point at her, they drag her away, we don't see her again for the rest of the night. All right. Meanwhile, the rest of us are divvied up into working either the haunted house or the haunted train ride. Now, the haunted train ride was this tram that went through the park and stopped at different scenes from either horror movies or your personal nightmares, acted out by us, the volunteers. So the guy who runs the haunted house grabs a bunch of us and sits us down in one of those amphitheaters where they do those cheesy live action shows during the day. And he has a clipboard and he's assigning roles, and he goes, all right, I got a really good role, but it requires you to not be claustrophobic, which is probably the worst thing you could have said to us, because now everybody in the amphitheater is thinking about being in an enclosed space. So everybody's freaking out, and obviously he's not getting any volunteers. So at this point he's just basically pointing at people and asking them rapid fire, do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? And as his finger's getting closer to me, I start to wonder, am I really claustrophobic? I don't think so. So before I could raise my hand to volunteer, his finger gets to me and he's like, do you want to do it? I was like, yeah, sure, fine. And he's like, great. You're gonna be a medieval wench who's stuffed in a coffin that's set on fire. I was like, oh shit, I can't get out of this now. So they drag me away, and they walk me to this barn, and they make me put on this Party City wench outfit over my clothes, and they just spray paint my face white and put black streaks in. And then this park employee walks me and 2 of my friends to the backwoods area of Six Flags America, and this was the scene that we were supposed to play. I, the wench, would be walked out by a dungeon master to a Catholic priest. The Catholic priest would backhand me, and then the dungeon master would load me on a tray with wheels into a coffin, and then the Catholic priest would douse the top of the coffin with lighter fluid, strike a match, and then give the illusion that I'm burning in hell for my sins. Right. The guy that walked us out to practice this scene with us, practiced it with us 1 time. Right? And then he left 3 20-year-olds in the backwoods of an amusement park with 3 cans of lighter fluid in a dry rotted wooden box. Almost as if he was daring us not to burn the park down. So the 3 of us are a little nervous, and I'm like, I don't know about this scene, we should do this a little bit more. So we try to practice, we get some practice runs in, we're feeling kind of good about it, and then we hear the train whistle blow. And we're like, oh my God, it's a train full of people, it's showtime, right? So we assume our positions, all right? Dungeon Master walks me out, priest backhands me, they got me on the tray, they're sliding me in. And then all of a sudden, I can feel the wheels go off the track inside of the coffin, all right? So now I can't go any further. I'm stuck, right? Half of my body's in the coffin, the other half with my face is staring at a train full of confused people, like expecting a burning winch, right? And then like another 30 seconds go by, and then the train just rides off into the distance in silence. And I'm looking at two of my friends, and one of them goes, "Well, that sucked." Hope that doesn't happen again. It happened again, and again, and again. We had to do that scene about 10 times. I would say it worked about 20% of the time. The other 80% was spent with half of my body sticking out of the coffin and having two of the following phrases yelled at me. The first one was, "Better luck next year!" I was like, okay, that's fair. And the second one was the all too confusing, "You need Jesus," which I couldn't really tell if that was like, "You need Jesus to get you through this," or like, "You need Jesus even though I'm at an event celebrating the occult and I'm a walking contradiction." Either way, I'm like mad because like I came here, I was trying to scare somebody and it was clearly failing. So a lot of my friends thought that I had the worst deal of all of us that night. You know, obviously I'm stuck in a coffin, but no, I would say the person who had the worst deal of us that night was my friend Becky. Now, Becky, if you recall, was the person that was dragged out at the beginning of the story because they needed the shortest person in the group, and the reason that they needed Becky was because they needed somebody to play Rat Girl. Now, Rat Girl had to wear an old white wedding dress and lay flat in a glass coffin that was wheeled around the park by my two friends. And inside this coffin, no more than a 2-inch perimeter separated Becky and white rats just running around her. Right. Rats that I might add, that were extremely horny. And made no bones about doing it right in front of Becky's face. Unfortunately, the rats didn't even live up to their end of the performance bargain in scaring people that night, because after a while, my friend told me, it got so cold that the rats kind of just gave up on fornicating and eventually just huddled together for warmth. So it was just like an all-around fail for everybody. Like no one's scaring anyone. I didn't get to get my scare. So I'm kind of done. I'm kind of pissed off. Like we go back to campus. I'm in my dorm room. Didn't take the makeup off right away. Just checking my email. And then all of a sudden I hear the bathroom door slam. And I thought I was alone, but I didn't know that my roommate was back from architecture studio. And I was like, I didn't know anyone was in here. I didn't get to scare anyone all night. I'm gonna get my scare in. All right, so like I post myself like outside of this huge vanity mirror that like separated my room and the bathroom. So I basically post up and I'm like this. I hear the flush. She comes out. My reflection is in the mirror. She stares at the reflection, doesn't flinch. I was like, are you kidding me? Then she stares directly at me and goes like this. Why? And I smiled because I finally got my scare in after all. Thank you guys.